Okay, so this is an open standard protocol. Spanning tree is a open standard protocol. IEEE, this is a IEEE standard which is it use 802.1t, right? And basically, why we need spanning tree protocol? Basically, we use to avoid the loop, and um, we also use to select the best path in the switching network. Okay, so this is the use of spanning tree protocol. Okay, now it will always use multicast BPTU messages to send the traffic, and this is the multicast MAC address that is we have, right? 0180 0C200 and 0000. Okay, it used to prevent switch network topology from bridge loop, right? By putting some interface into forwarding state and some interface into the blocking state. Okay, so what are these states, and what is the kind of STP terminology that is we have. So we will also talk about the terminology, and then we'll just talk about the port election criteria. Okay, like how it will forward a packet and how it choose the forwarding state. The some interface is in the forwarding state and some interface into the blocking state, right? And how it will provide the how it will event the loop. So we'll also talk about that. Okay. Now STP terminology. What is that? So we have root bridge, right? First of all, it is going to select the root bridge. If you are going to use, let me just open the whiteboard. Then we'll talk about that. Okay. Now suppose that here we have the three switches, right? Switch one, switch two, and here is the switch three. Okay, so all the switches whiches we have, so between this network I'm going to describe the first of all the STP terminology. Okay, and then STP port election. Okay, so these two things we are going to talk about, like some how the some interfaces can be put that inside the forwarding state, and how the some interfaces put inside the blocking state. So how it is gonna be happen? Just let's discuss it. Okay. So the first of all, it use to select the root bridge, right? And we have the few things before electing the root bridge. We will also talk about the what is the root bridge, and how the root bridge election criteria has been done. Okay. So here is the root bridge. What is the root bridge? First of all, a switch which has a best bridge ID, or bits what is the bridge ID? The lowest ID will become a root bridge, right? So what is the bridge ID that is we have? It is a 8 byte long ID, right? So by default, the ID would be 32768, right? So the range of the bridge ID that is 02655535. Okay. Now we have the two things over here, that is inside the 8 bytes, 2 byte basically we use uh, to enable the the bridge priority, right? So this is the priority of the bridge. Okay, means whatever the priority that is we have on this, so this is the by default priority of all the Cisco switches that is we have on the switches. Okay, now we have after that the bridge MAC address. Okay, bridge base MAC address, that is the 6 byte. Okay, now here is the some kind of priority which is we can count, right? That is, that would be in the decimal form, right? So all the 00 means 0, and where the 0001 that means it is going to start it with the 4096, right? That is going to start it with the 4096, and simultaneously 1011, these are the decimal form of it. Okay, and here is the, like you can just also count the something like it, right? Means total bit. How many bits that is we have? That is 2 byte. 2 byte means 8 bits, right? In a 1 byte we have 8 bits on a 1 byte. So here we have the 2 byte means we have 8 bits, 16 bits over here, right? So 16 bit, it is going to start it with this 1 means 16 to the power 16, which is we can simply we can count it like to the power 16. So whatever the value that is we have, that is 32768. Okay, so this is the default value of this bridge priority of that. Okay, 32768. Okay, so this is the thing which is we have. Now after that, what is happening over here, that is about the BPDU messages. What is the BPDU? That is we call Bridge Protocol Data Unit, right? Because of all the messages that is it's going to share regarding the BPDUs only, right? Means the BP behalf of the BPDUs messages, the election criteria should be done in that, right? So how many types of what is the BPDU message? First of all, let's talk about it. So the BPDU will share bridge ID between switches to elect the root bridge. STP generate hello messages after every 2 seconds, right? So means after selecting the root bridge, after selecting the root bridge, this will start sending the hello messages, right? Which type of message? The BPDU hello message, right? Which type of message it is going to share? BPDU hello message, and this is gonna be shared after every 2 seconds, right? Means that is called BPDU message. Okay, a BPDU which has been bridge ID, that is lowest bridge ID, always prefer, will always superior as a BPDU. That is we call superior BPDU, right? Means lowest bridge plus lowest base MAC address would be always prefer first, and that is the thing which is we call superior BPDU. Now we have two kind of things, that is superior BPDU and inferior BPDU. So always the superior BPDU will be preferred first. Okay. Now types of BPDU messages if I'm talk about. So here we have the configuration BPDU, TCN BPDU. Configuration BPDU means um, to form the connection between source to destination, or to inform that the another switch that is going to generated by the configuration BPDU, right? Means first of all it will generate the configuration BPDU, and then it is going to start the TCN BPDU. It is going to start generating the TCN BPDU. That is we called topology change notification, right? That is we called topology change notification BPDU. Okay. Now what is the configuration BPDU? That this is the BPDU messages will be generated periodically in every 2 seconds. As I told you, this one, right? Means hello message. This is talking about the configuration BPDU, means this is a kind of hello message, right? So inside the hello message, inside the configuration BPDU, what kind of things that it's going to generate or it's going to send? The version of that, protocol ID, type of configuration on TCN BPDU, right? Flags, root bridge ID, designated bridge ID, cumulative cost to reach root bridge, designated port ID, max age, messages age, forward delay timer, and low timers. Okay, so these are the content it is going to generate inside the configuration BPDU. Okay, means after every 2 seconds, these are the content is going to share, right? These are the content is going to share after every 2 seconds. Now, then what is the TCN BPTU? So, STP will generate TCN BPTU when change is occurred in topology, right? Means topology change notification. Means if any changes will be there, suppose that this network down or this link down or this link down. So that is how the root bridge can understand that there is some changes in our topology. So who is going to inform that? The TCN BPTU is informed a Tritian BPDU will give the information about the any kind of changes in topology, right? It will inform that there is change in topology, right? So the content which is it is going to generate the version, protocol ID, and type. Okay. Now, root bridge ID, whatever the root bridge, when the root bridge is election criteria would be done. So in this case, this this will always generate a zero cost PPT. Means always the zero cost will be preferred first, right? The lower value. So always that is why the root bridge is always share the zero cost of it. Okay. Now after election of the root bridge, only root bridge will responsible to generate configuration PPT. No any other no any other bridge can generate the configuration BPDU. Means who is going to responsible for it? The for the configuration BPDU, the only and only root bridge. Okay. Now here is the some cost that is we have for the particular interface, right? Means if you are using Ethernet port, so the cost would be 100, right? If you are using for the Ethernet, the cost would be 100. Okay. For the fast Ethernet, the cost would be 90, right? And for the 1 Gbps, the cost would be the gigabyte, which is we called cost would be 4, and for the 10 gigabyte the cost would be 2, and the 100 gigabyte would be cost would be 1. So this is the cost of the BPDUs that is we have, right? Means if you are using this link, and if you are using one side that is Ethernet link, and one side if you are using the fast Ethernet, so always it will choose the best path, and on the who has the fastest link, this will always prefer first because of, see, why we always choose the fast Ethernet or the fast internet. Why? Because of this link has the fast this fast election sorry the fast data sending process, right? Means it can send the 100 GB per 100 MB per second of the speed. Means this can use the 100 MB per second of the speed. Ethernet link will able to send the 10 Mbps of the speed. Means this Ethernet can use the 10 MB per second of the link. And gigabyte, you also know that 1 GB per second, and then 10 GB per second, and then 100 GB per second. Okay, so this is the thing that is we have for the cost selection criteria and all. Okay, now let's talk about the root port and designated port and the root bridge and all the things, right? Means how the port election criteria has been done in that. Okay, so let's talk about the first of all, let's talk about some notes that is we have. So we can modify these cost value according to the requirement, right? Means we can accordingly we can just modify that cost according to our requirement, right? When a switch receives a superior BPDU, then it will immediately stop to announce itself as a root bridge, right? If switch receive a superior BPDU, means suppose that this is our root bridge, right? And suppose that this is going to start getting the superior BPDU from this switch number 2. So it will start acting itself as a root bridge. Means this is the election criteria has been going to occur again, right? Now, what is the root port? So the root port, that port which received the PPTU message. So who is going to generate the PPTU? Always the root bridge, right? And on a root bridge, every port would be in a designated port. That is we call DP port. So on the front of DP port can be root port or can be block port, right? It can be block port as well, right? So this is the DP port, and always DP port can generate the configuration BPTU, right? Who will going to responsible to generate the configuration BPTU? Root bridge, right? Means the DP port, only the DP port, only DP port can generate configuration BPTU, right? No one other can generate it. And who is going to receive the configuration BPTU? Root port. Root port is receive the configuration BPTU. Okay, and the block port means the block port means it's not stable or it's disabled, right? So this is the thing, and this is how we can just elect the port priority and all the things. Now, how the root bridge election criteria has been done? First of all, the because of the root bridge is going to be done in that. So how the root bridge election criteria is going to occur? So let's talk about that. Okay. Now, first of all, what is the root port? What is a designated port? What is this? So, the root port is that port which receives BPTU message, right? As I told you over here, the root port always receive the configuration BPTU. Okay. Now, designated port, a port which transmit BPTU message, right? Means always the designated port, that is we call DP port. Designated port always send the configuration BPTU. Okay. Now, what is the port ID? I think we have done that. So, all port of a root bridge will always remain as a DP, right? So, as I told you that if the my switch is the root bridge, so always the root bridge of the all the port of the root bridge is start electing itself as a DP port. Okay. Now, root port election will be performed by on non-root bridge only, right? Means if the one switch is our root bridge, so the others would be our non-root bridge. Okay, others will automatically it is going to start electing itself as a non-root bridge. Okay, now just forget these things for now. Let's discuss that how this root bridge and non-root bridge election criteria is going to be happen, right? And then after that, we'll just talk about the DP port and root port election criteria, okay? And then we'll just talk about this kind of information regarding these port states, right? So that your concept will be clear, right? So suppose that here are the three switches that is we have. Switch number one, just I'm taking the same example, okay? Switch number two, and here is the switch number three. Okay, now the by default priority of a Cisco switch is 32768, right? 32768. 32768. So first of all, what they will do, they will going to exchange their information. And what kind of information these are the going to exchange? Let me show you. The bridge ID, right? These are going to exchange the information about the bridge ID. So what is the bridge ID? The bridge ID is the content of the two things, that is priority and base MAC address, right? So the priority, by default priority, which is it have 32768, suppose that, right? And always the lower priority will be preferred first, right? But I'm taking the by default priority, which is the Cisco switch have. Okay, just for your confirmation. So, but the MAC address would not be same, right? MAC address would be always different on the switches, right? So the base MAC address of this switch, suppose that this one have 0A, and this switch is have, suppose that 0B, and this switch have, suppose that 0C. So in this case, who will be the my root bridge, guys, and who will be the my non-root bridge? Can anybody tell me? Because of the
So
always
the
lower
root
bridge.
Which
bridge will
one?
be OA because of the lowest
Which one will be
criteria.
the root bridge?
Switch 1, root bridge.
Switch
Right,
2 and switch
because of
bridge.
the all the switches is going to exchange the information about their bridge ID, right? So they are going to exchange that information about the bridge ID with this, with this, with this. Okay, and this one is also going to exchange the same information. Okay, so now every switch have their all the information regarding their neighbors and the another switches, right? So they will just check it. Okay, like once this switch and this switch will receive that this BPDU, then it will check that okay, the bridge ID, the bridge this is this one have that is lowest, right? So it is going to start electing itself as a root bridge, right? So who is the root bridge? The switch number one is our root bridge over here, right? This is our root bridge, and they are non-root bridge. Okay, non-root bridge. Now, on a root bridge, every port is automatically going to start electing itself as a DP port, right? As a DP port. And front of the DP port, it can be the block port or the root port. But how this election is going to be happen? So let's talk about that. Now, what they will do, they will start generating the configuration BPTU, right? And inside the configuration BPTU, they will start generating the all the things which is it have, right? But over here inside this topology, the front of DP port, it can be the root port or the block port. So we have to send that information. Means these two switches always have to receive the information. So the front of this port would be the DP port. Now again over here, the both the switches is going to start receiving the BPTU, which is the same BPTU message, right? They are start getting the BPTU message, that is same BPTU message, and this one is also going to start getting the same BPTU message, right? Because of the switch is generate the BPTU messages, and it is going to generate on the DP ports, right? So we have the same DP ports on the switch, so it is going to generating the start generating the BPTU messages. These two switches will receive it, right? But now again the election criteria is going to be happen between these two switches, like who will be the DP port, because of now, if I say that this can be the DP port or this can be the DP port, so they will just generating the both the switches is going to start generating the BPTU messages, right? So in this case, they will not able to reach from here, right? So now that is why the election criteria is going to occur again in this topology. Okay. Now, so again, the same ID is going to prefer to select the path. to select the root bridge. Sorry, to select the DP port on a switches, right? This is our root port. Sorry for that.
The root port.
Yes, 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 yes. This is our root port. Okay, so for the DP port election criteria is going to occur again between the two switches. So they will exchange their BPTU information, the bridge ID information, and then it will just under there both the switches will understand that okay, this switch have the lower bridge ID from this link on this link. So this will start electing itself as a DP port, and this one is goes to the block port. Why? Because of if this would be in the root port, so what will happen over here? So what does the mean of what does the mean of to use the spanning tree protocol? Means this is going to generating the BPTU message, and this switch is also going to receive the BPTU message via this way and via this way as well, right? Because of the DP port only can generate the PPTU messages, the configuration PPTU, right? So this one is also going to generate, and once it will reach on the switch number two, so switch number two will also check that like do I have any things any DP port to select the same info to send the same information towards the neighbor. So this will look that okay, I have the DP port, means I have to send the configuration repeat you towards this. So once if my this root port is there, if my root port election is there, so that means the two things the same packet you are getting from the two sides. So means there is somewhere there is the loop. So that is why this port is going to change that inside the block state. Okay. Okay, guys. So this is how the election criteria is going to be happen in that. I hope you understand.
Yes, Aman sir.
Right. Do you want to take any other topology?
Can you explain one more time, sir? In this one block port, how it will block the port?
See, just forgot the block port and this DP port for now, right? Just forgot this. Now, what will happen? This switch and this switch and this switch we have the three switches, and on the all the switches that first of all the root bridge election criteria is going to be happen. Root bridge and non-root bridge election criteria first one, right? So the first election criteria that is root bridge election criteria and non-root bridge. Okay. Now the second election criteria is to select the DP port, root port, and block port. Right. So
Yes, sir.
this selection criteria is going to be happen. How this is going to be? This one is going to be based on the ID bridge ID. Bridge ID, right? And this root port and this election criteria is going to be happen behalf of the configuration BPTU and the port priority. Okay, so suppose that these two things, just remember that, right? Means if you are not getting these two things, so there will be the too much confusion. Okay, now in this case, if I have the same link, right? Means if I'm using the fast Ethernet on all the interfaces, okay, this one as well. So the bridge priority, which is we have 19, right? That is 19. So inside the configuration between you, let me show you. The bridge priority is also going to generate, right? Let me show you. Root bridge ID, right? And the cost, right? Let me just show you the cost. Here is the cost, right? And the port ID. Okay. So why following these things, this is going to generate or this is going to electing the DP port, root port, and the block port behalf of this only. Okay. Now, and what is happening over here after that? They are if the this switch is our root bridge, so the root bridge of all the interfaces would be the DP port,
If you
right?
put,
Because of
yes, sir.
the root bridge is the only one thing which is responsible to share the configuration between you to its neighbors or to its non-root bridge. So this port would be start electing itself as a DP port. So front of the DP port would be always root port or it can be the block port as well, right? Now, this suppose that the some data like all the times the data would be very important, right? All the data for all the times the data would be very important. So suppose that this is going to generate the data means the front of the DP port I just say start electing itself as a root port, right? So they just convert this port into the root port. Now again the election criteria is going to be happen in this
You can
scenario,
switch to
right?
LCP.
Means who will be the DP port and who will be the block port. Now this selection criteria is going to be happen over here. So they are going to start exchanging their these bridge IDs and all, right? So in this case, the lower bridge ID will be preferred, right? So the 0B and 0C MAC address will be signed over there. So this switch number two interface is start electing itself as a DP port, right? So front of the DP port here will be the block port. If this can be the root port means there will be the loop, right? Then what does the mean of what does the use of then STP? Because of we use STP to avoid the loop, right? Means whatever the packet the root bridge which is generating the whatever the configuration BPDU the switch is going to generate, this switch is going to receive via the two path, that is via this way and via this way as well, right? That is going to receive via
Yes.
this way and via
Oh,
this way.
it will also calculate the cost
Yes, it will now it will
in.
calculate the cost as well as and also it will work on the bridge ID as well, right?
Okay.
Okay, now to reach from here to here, this is getting 19 cost, right? And to reach from here to here, it is getting 19 plus 19,
38.
right? So this is the longest path. So always it choose the short and best path, right? So that is why this interface would be electing its start
Block
electing
port.
itself as a block port. Okay, so this is the thing which is gonna be happen in this scenario. You can take any scenario and you can just calculate the cost to reach destination, right? So this is the thing you have to just take the election criteria. Anything else regarding that? If you have any doubts, still if you have any doubts, we can just revise that.
So,
Okay, now let's talk about the port states that is we have. Means disable how uh, the root bridge see this DB port, root port, and this block port is going to be happen. So it's totally depend upon the port state, right? Means when the messages is going to exchange, right? Means behalf of the messages, it is totally depend upon the messages. So how the messages is going to send and how the messages is going to receive. So these things is we are going to talk about in STP port states. So STP port state would be we have the multiple state over here, that is disable, blocking, listening, learning, and then forwarding, right? So disable means can send or receive the data, means this is in the totally stop, right? Now blocking means it can receive the BPTU, but it cannot send the BPTU messages, right? Means it can learn the MAC address, right? It can receive the data, it can learn the MAC address, but it cannot send the BPTU messages or any kind of messages, right? Now listening means it can receive the BPTU messages it cannot send it, but it can receive the data only, right? And the Mac learning process is also going to start, also going to learn it inside this listening state. Now, the learning state means it can send the data, right? On what kind of data it is going to send that? The request message, right? Now, inside the learning, this is going to receive the data, this is going to send the data, and the Mac learning process will also going to be happen, right? Now, forwarding means it can send the data, it can receive the data, it can receive the BPTU messages. So all the things is gonna be happen in the forwarding state. Okay, means when you connect the two switches, so the first state would be disable, and then it will move to the blocking state, right? And then it will move to the listening and learning and then forwarding. Okay, so this is the thing, and this is how it's gonna be happen over here. Okay, now type, we also have some kind of topology changes as well in that. So what kind of topology changes that is we have? That is insignificant topology change, direct topology change, and indirect topology change. Okay, so let's talk about the first one, that is insignificant topology change. What is that? So insignificant topology change, I have also already made that. So inside the insignificant topology change, when access port goes down, right? When access port goes down and comes up with the switch generates TC and BPTU, means if any ports goes down or if any changes will be happen over here on an access port, right? So the TC and BPTU will be generated, right? Means there is a kind of any changes that the topology have to know about this, right? That is we call insignificant topology change. Means on a access port, because of between the switches I am going to use that is the trunk port. We must have to use the trunk port. So suppose that here is the PC, okay, PC1, and where the changes is going to be happen on this interface only, on a access port only. Suppose that this PC is going to participate into the VLAN number 10. Okay, so suppose that this VLAN number 10 PC is a stop generating or it stop working. Okay, so in this case, that the insignificant topology change is going to generate. So how it is going to be happen? First of all, they are going to start generating that, okay, and then the aging time will be preferred over here, right? Because of the aging time would be 300 seconds for this particular PC, right? Because of whatever the PC that I have attached it on this switch, so the MAC address is learned on this interface of this PC, right? And this is going to store inside the cam table, and uh, that's 200 seconds only. Sorry, 300 seconds. Okay, so means it can receive, it can just handle this MAC address continuously at the 300 seconds, and then the learning process would be happen again, right? Means that is we call we can just count it into the steps, right? So what are the steps that is we have? So the first step is the port is going to shut down, right? Let me just. So the first step is port is going to shut down, right? Means when the port will be shut down, so that switch is going to start generating the TC and BPTU, right? The second step, it is going to start generating the TC and BPTU. This is the in the blocking state. So over on this interface, this is the anything is not going to be happen, right? Because of this is the blocking state. But over here, this state in the forwarding state, right? And always the root port is able to generate the TC and BPTU. Always root port is able to generate the TC and BPTU, right? So the second step is that is switch number two is start generating the TC and BPTU. So then the root bridge will receive the TCN BPTU, and then it will just start sending the configuration BPTU that the TCN with the TCN bit as a on, right? Means okay, I got that, means I have to enable the TCN bit, that is topology change notification bit as a on, right? For the understanding purpose. So this will start sending the TCN bit as a on, and this will send it towards their root port, even this port as well, and even this port as well, right? So this will this will start informing that okay, the third step, that is it is going to start generating the topology change notification message as on, right? So both the switches will receive it, and then the fourth step, that is we have, that is it is going to change the aging time, that it would be 300 second to the 15 seconds, right? So this will change the aging time on this, and then it will just convert it into the 50-second for the new MAC address learning process, right? For the new MAC address learning process. So this is happening inside this insignificant topology change. Okay. Now, if any link state goes down or any link will come up, the switch must see that as a topology change and inform to the root bridge. Means there is some topology is change occurred inside the topology, and I have to inform that to our root bridge, right? Means there is some changes in our topology. So this will inform that, and then the first step would be in the PC of the PC on switch C is turned off. The switch detects the link state goes down, right? In this picture, switch C. Suppose that this is our switch C, right? So this is going to down, and then it is going to just doing the all the things. So I'm not going to discuss all the things again. Now for this, avoiding the insignificant topology change, like it is going to inform the root bridge, and then the root bridge is going to take the 300 seconds, right, to check the all the information regarding that. So how we can avoid it with using the port fast, right? Means if I enable the port fast on this switch, where I have to enable the port fast, always where the topology is going to change, right? Means on the switch number 3 or whatever the switch, the PC is going to change the topology, or the topology change occurred. Only on that switch we are going to enable the port fast, right? Means we enable port fast on access port. We enable the port fast on access port. After enabling port fast, access port directly move in the forwarding state without checking the delay timer, right? And switch will not generate TCN BPTU. If switch not generate TCN BPTU, then switch will not configure their aging time 300 seconds to 15 seconds. Means automatically it will just convert it into the 15 seconds, right? So what will be the edging time? That is 15 seconds, and port will take 30 seconds to come up in the forwarding state, right? How to enable port fast? Simply just you have to go inside the port, right? Means you have to go on this port of a switch, and then you have to enable, you have to run the command, that is spanning tree port fast. In some iOS, you have to enable, you have to add one more command, that is spanning tree port fast default, right? So in some cases you have to add this default command on the interfaces, right? Interface fast internet 0/0. So in some cases you have, okay. Now now we have the direct topology change after that, right? So how the direct topology change is going to be happen? So when switch have minimum one alternate port available, then direct topology change will occur, right? If any port goes down or come up, the convergent time in direct topology change is 30 seconds, right? Because of, suppose that this is our block port, right? And the same topology, I'm also going to take it for that. Okay. So the DP port always is going to generate the BPTU messages, right? But if any like where the topology is going to change, the direct topology change, that is minimum one interface, one alternate port available, then the direct topology change will be will be occurred, right? Means on this port, the direct topology change is going to be happen on this port, and we have the one block port over here. So in this case, the topology change is going to be happen on this port. Means the root port is going to block, and this block port is going to like going to start electing itself as a root port, right? And this will as a it start electing as a itself as a block port, right? Means how the changes is going to be happen with using the some messages, and how the messages is going to generate. The first step it will take, that is to if that link goes down, right? So first step is that link goes down. So the second step is it will take the 1500 aging time that is we have. Means it will wait for the 50 seconds, and then it will come, it will just remove that MAC address from their CAN table, right? So suppose that the CAN table is maintained, suppose that on this interface the MAC address was 1A, right, on this interface, and this interface goes down, suppose that, then this will just remove that MAC address from their CAN table, and then it will it will check that do I have any backup port or not, right? Do I have any backup port or not? So this the block port is a kind of backup port of a root port, right? You can say that the block port is the backup port of the root port, right? If my root port goes down, then the backup port will take place of the root port. Okay. So over here, this is going to take place of the root port because of previously this was in the blocking state, right? And now this link is also blocked. So if any data will be there, so how the data can travel it on this switch? Means we have to enable some link, means we have to find uh, the uh, the basically the standby port, that is I have standby way, right? Means the block port. So backup port are blocked. So this will find out, okay, I have the block port, means I have to enable, I have to move that block port into the forwarding state, means I have to make it as a root port. So this is the DP port, means this is going to generate the message of the configuration BP2. This is also going to generate the configuration BP2, right? And then it will just take 30 seconds for the active state, right? Because of this is in the blocking state first of all, and then it will comes up into the listening, learning, and then forwarding state, right? So this is how it is gonna be take, like this will come inside the listening, learning, and then forwarding state. Means this is going to take the 30 seconds to come up, right? This is going to take the 30 seconds to come up. Okay. To reduce this 30 seconds, we have uplink fast. Now, it is used to reduce the convergence time 30 seconds when direct topology change occurs, right? If any root port goes down, and then uplink fast immediately creates a new root port in a milliseconds, right? To the alternate port on a forwarding state without any delay time, right? Means if you enable the uplink fast on these switches on these ports, so directly it will not take the 30 seconds, directly it will comes up, and then it will just move that state which is in the forwarding state without checking listening, learning, forwarding state, this process, right? So this is the use of this uplink fast. Now this is the some kind of, you can say that this is a this is a this is the MAC address of this uplink fast, right? Means if you are enabling the uplink fast, so it takes the multicast MAC address. Means it will forward the some packets with using this multicast address. Means that is 01000 dot cdcd, right? So this will take these kind of things. Now we have how you can configure the uplink fast. That is, after pinging all the things, you have how you can enable it. Simply, you have the two things to enable. You can enable it for the particular switch, right? If you want this uplink fast on this switch, so you can also enable it for the global basis or per interface basis as well. Okay, so how you can enable it for the per interface basis and the global basis, that is, for the global basis you can just run the command, that is spanning tree uplink fast, right? And then for the interface basis you have to go on that interface and then you have to run that command, right? That is spanning tree uplink fast. That's all. Now, the last one, that is we have direct topology change. Okay, so inside the direct topology change, where the occurs is going to be happen, that is, it is also going to take the 30 seconds, right? It is also going to take the 30 seconds for the coming up. Okay, so how the things is gonna be happen? So the first step is link goes down between switch A and switch B. Means where the link is going down between these links, right? Between these switches. So if the link goes down, then the second step is that switch A and switch B will generate TC and BPDU towards switch C. Means they are just starting generating the TC and BPDU over here. Okay, from here and from here as well. But over here we have the two things, that is inferior BPTU and superior BPTU. Okay, on a switch C, and all switches will exchange their aging time from 300 seconds to 15 seconds. Now, then step 3, that is switch B was receiving superior BPTU only on port number 0/1, right? Means before that, this was receiving the superior BPTU because of that switch was our root port, right? That switch was our root bridge, right? That is why the root bridge is sending the superior BPTU always, right? Now, port 01, but after link goes down, when the link goes down, then it is not going to generate any kind of, then the switch B is not able to receive any kind of superior BPTU which is coming from the root bridge, right? Now switch B will start to announce itself as a root bridge, because of this will find out that okay, I do not have any kind of root port, means I have the DP port, means now I am the Thanos, means I have to kill the all the superheroes and all the things, right? Means he is the hero, right? Means because of it will find that this is have the DP port. Okay, means this is start announcing itself as a root bridge, right? So switch B will generate inferior BPTU towards the switch C, right? Switch B is going to start generating the inferior BPTU towards the switch C, right? Now, once the switch C will receive the inferior BPTU, then if any switch announce itself as a root bridge in this presence of root bridge, then BPTU of new root bridge is called as an inferior BPTU, right? Means if the root bridge is present and but another switch is like start generating the start announcing itself as a root bridge, then that the another switch is start generating the inferior BPTU always. That means like you slept, you suppose that you were sleeping and just you saw in your dreams, that is I'm a good ethical hacker, right? But when you wake up, your dreams came not true, right? Means you see your real environment and all the things, right? Then you will realize that okay, means that was a kind of dream, which is I was seeing that. Okay, so means if the root bridge is alive, if the root bridge is alive and there will be the new root bridge is going to be happen, then the new root bridge is going to send the inferior BPTU. Now, the second step, the fourth step that is we have, when switch C receive inferior BPTU, it will start max edge timer 20 seconds of superior BPTU because of it will take 15 to 20 seconds for the uh, for the max edge timer. The max edge timer that is we have 20 seconds in the spanning tree. Okay, so it will wait for the 20 seconds and means till 20 second it will receive this BPTU, inferior BPTU, and the next step is after expire maxes timer of superior BPTU, switch C will compare and declare that switch A is root bridge, right? So switch C will change its port state from blocking to listening of fast Ethernet 10/1. Okay, means they are generating the inferior BPTU and this was continuously generating the superior BPTU. But this switch C will wait for the 20 seconds, right? Switch C will wait for the 20 seconds because of this switch C is get confused that who is the root bridge because of it will find out that I'm getting the BPTU messages which is coming from the both the side because of switch A and switch B. They both the switches is going to start electing itself as a root bridge, right? But the previous root bridge was a switch A. Means the switch A was sending the superior BPTU, right? But switch C know that I'm getting the superior BPTU from the switch A and I'm getting the inferior BPTU from the switch B, right? But the switch C is understand that okay means let it send let they will send it okay let they will announce the all the things they will just this will wait for the 20 seconds to confirming the switch A and the switch B that who will be the root bridge. So once the 20-second will end, then it will start electing this port as a forwarding state, right? Start electing this port as a forwarding state. So how this is gonna be happen? Because of this is going to take the this is going to start electing itself as a root bridge, right? So because of this is if that is the root port, if that is the root port means the root port only can receive the data. This root port or the root port only can receive the BPTU message. This cannot able to generate the BPTU message. But if the some data is necessary which is coming from the previous root bridge, then the switch C have to send the data. Means this block port is going to convert it inside the DP port, right? So it will take starting first of all it will start message timer that is 20 second and then it will take listening that would be 15 second and the learning would be 15 seconds. So the total time taken that is it's a 50 second, right? The total time which is it is taking that is 50 second, okay, with including your max edge timer. If you are not going to include your max edge timer, then it will take 30 second, okay. So it is taking the 50 seconds for the convergence, right? So what will be the solution if like if the some data is very important but due to some technical issue, there was some changes in the topology which is on the indirect topology change, which is we call indirect topology change. So how you can understand, like how you can just reduce this timing. So with using the backbone fast, with using the backbone fast, you can reduce this 20 second, right? Means you can just skip this 20 seconds uh, for root bridge election criteria, right? Means for the inferior BPDU and superior BPDU election criteria, you can skip it and directly you can just work on your DP port election criteria, right? So this will just move to the 30-second only, right? But it will take time. Okay, so this is the thing, and how you can just enable the backbone fast. So here is the subcommand. Let me show you. Here is that. Okay, so spanning tree backbone fast. Just simply you have to put that command. Okay, now the port will take 30 seconds to come up. But the previously when I was not enabling the backbone fast, then it was taking 50 seconds for coming up into the forwarding state. But when I enable the backbone fast over here, then it will take 30 seconds, right? So this is gonna be happen. Okay, guys. So let me just do one thing. Let me just check if I have any other things or not. So let's talk about PBST, RPBST, and MST, right? So what are the things that is we have, and then we'll talk about the span and remote span. Okay. So uh, let's discuss this first, right? And then we'll just I think we have covered this. Okay. So during that we will cover these BPDU guard, BPDU filter, and loop guard and root guard. Okay. We will also cover these things. So let's discuss this PVST plus, RPVST plus, and MST. So here is the PVST plus and basically MST is not there, I think. But let's discuss first of all PVST plus, which is we have, right? So what is the PVST plus? It is stand for per VLAN spanning tree plus, right? It is stands for per VLAN spanning tree plus. It operates a separate instance of a STP for each individual VLANs, right? Capability for load balancing, it means it can also provide the load balancing as well, right? It support ISL and .1Q both, right? So the trunking encapsulation protocol, which is it support ISL and .1Q both, work same as a PVST, right? It is default on switches, means the default protocol which is you will get the PVST plus on switches, right? Now how you can just make the instances, that is, first of all you have to select the VLANs, right? Suppose that I have the 10 VLANs over here and you wanted to configure the some priority and some kind of instances regarding that, right? So how you can do that? Just simple you have to select that, and first of all you have to make the VLANs, right? So just make the VLANs, and after that just you can select the particular priority for this. Always the lower priority will be preferred, right? So you can set the lower priority for the VLAN number 2 or whatever the VLAN that you want. So you can set the priority and you can just make it um, as a primary root bridge, right? So here is the some kind of VLAN which is I'm going to make it as a primary and the secondary, right? Means we have particular things which is we can make the switch or the make the particular VLAN like primary VLAN or the secondary VLAN, right? With using the priority and the primary command. Okay, now let's talk about the MST, and we will just come back on the STP protection, right? Means how you can enable the root guard, loop guard, BPDU guard, BPDU filter, right? and what are the things that is we have, we will also talk about. So let's discuss first of all, that is, we have done PVST plus, right? Let's talk about the MST and RPVST plus. So let me just open some PDF, then you will get insight it. I think the the PDF which is I have shared you regarding that only you will get. Let me show you. Where is the switching concept? We have the span and R span, right? So keep remember, we have to also cover DHCP. Card. Okay, I think I'm nearby it. So what are the things which is we have to cover? RPVST, right? Rapid per VLAN spanning tree protocol. That's guys. Just let me find it out. Okay, then just we'll just revise it. Just hang on a minute. So let's focus on the MST that is we have. Okay, like what is that and how we can use the MST in this chapter, right? Let me just here is the RPVSD plus which is we have done, right? So MST, let me just find out over here that is we have. Okay, so what is the MST? That is we call multiple spanning tree protocol, right? By default, Cisco Catalyst switches runs PVST plus or rapid PVST plus, right? That is we call per VLAN spanning tree protocol. This means that each VLAN is mapped to a single spanning tree instances. When you have 20 VLANs, it means there are 20 instances for this spanning tree. So suppose that with using the MST, let me take an example. Suppose that here is the switch, right? And on the switch, we have 20 VLANs. Okay, just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just like this, right? Till 20. So we have 20 VLANs, and on one VLAN, for each VLAN, we have to create one instances. If you are using PVST plus, right? So inside the PVST plus, you have to create the one instance for one VLAN, right? But there is a drawback, means there is a limited instances which is we can create, that is 3, 2, 7, 6, 8, right? So this is the multiple instances we can create on a switch, but if you cross that limit, if you cross the limit, then you will be not able to enable it. Okay, so now I'm not sure that what is the range of instances. I have to also check it. So sorry for that information. So if you use the PVST plus, that is the default mode of the Cisco Catalyst switch. If you are using PVST plus, then you have to create the multiple instances for like each instances for the each VLANs, right? But in the MST, in with using MST, you can bind multiple VLANs in one single instance, right? So you can bind multiple VLANs in a single instance. Okay, so that's totally depend like if we are getting the very good things over here regarding the MST, if you are getting uh, the good the good parameters to use to bind the multiple VLANs in a one time. So why would we use the PVST plus or RPVST plus, right? So that is why we use multiple span and tree protocol. Okay. So now let's discuss how we can enable that and how we can just bind the multiple VLANs in this, right? So it divided into the multiple regions, right? Means with using the regions we can work on it. Okay. So MST works with the concepts of regions. Switch that are configured to use MST needs to find out in their neighbors are running MST or not, right? So now what the needs, which is if you are going to configure the MST, then what kind of needs that you have to follow. So MST configuration name, right? So you have to put the name in that, like whatever the MST name that you wanted to give it. So you have to put that. And after that, MST configuration revision number, right? Means how you can identify that how many VLANs is going to create or VLAN is going to travel in that particular instances. So you have to find the revision numbers. Okay. Now the third one, which is we have MST instances to VLAN mapping table. So there will be the VLAN mapping table. With using that table, you can identify the attributes, you can identify the VLANs and the revision numbers, right? So all the things will be there in the mapping table. So with using the mapping table, you can find it out that how many instances that I have created on a switch. Okay. So let's directly jump to the configuration part, right? Like how we can just configure the MST. So here is the instances. First of all, you have to create, and then you have to bind it inside this VLANs, right? Means first of all, you have to tell your switch that mode. What is the mode you are going to use? So the command to enable that MST, that is span and tree mode MST, right? So you can just enable the mode which is regarding MST, and then you have to go inside these MST. Means you have to do configuration of MST. Means first of all, you have to put one command, that is span and tree mode MST, and then you have to come inside this, that is span and tree, that is span and tree MST configuration. Okay. So once you put this command, then you will be able to give the name, right? Then you will be able to give the name and the configuration revision number. Okay. So these are the things which is you can do, and after that, here will be you can just create a one instance, like instance one, and then you can put the VLAN in that. Okay. So this is the configuration which is you have to do to use the MST on a switch. So just write down the commands, because of the commands would be very important. Let me just tell you exactly which command you have to use. I think it's everything is mentioned over here, so you can just follow that. Okay, just like this. Okay, so just follow this command. Just write it down these command. Then if we need to do configuration, then we will also do this, right? So just write down these first.
Everyone, this is Neha from Times Group. Can I just take 5 minutes of yours?
Yes, ma'am. How are you? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good
Hey,
morning.
I just wanted to check how's the training going on, because what I understand is our SME, Mr. Vijay, visited the batch yesterday and he spares some time resolving all the queries. So, could anyone help me understand how's your training going on? Because accordingly, I'll be informing Mr. Vijay to be available again and help you out. And, if there's any modifications required, how can we make your learning more better?
Training is going very good, but I think time is like limited as per the content now. If we get 2 3 days more, then the content can be cleared in a good way. That is the whole thing.
Because some are beginners now, for them it is very tough to understand in this short period of time.
Okay. Anything else other than the duration? Okay, I heard that there was a mail which has been shared with Isaac, wherein there were certain, things highlighted by the experienced professionals. Anyone who already have an experience in this domain, could please highlight their experience to us.
Ma'am, 2.5 years in network data.
Thanks, Mr. Manish Jain. Could you tell me how is your experience on this training? Because I have gone through the mail which has been sent to Isaac and everyone regarding this training, where there was mention that some practical portion has not been covered. So can any one of you help me out understand if the same has been covered now or the query still persist? Because basis that we will be, monitoring your training further.
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, Aman sir is doing very good, but like the time is limited, then it's not like his problem. Like he has to cover each and everything. The network data is a vast thing to cover in 7 days. So like the only thing he's like he has to maintain the pace to cover all the things. So that is the thing only.
I got your point. Please confirm me if your BGP labs are done or not.
Ma'am, in BGP
Yeah,
labs,
BGP lab completed.
Okay.
we have some simulation issues prior because some issues in the Cisco packet tracer and some issues in the like GNS3. So
Okay.
like however we were able to like do manage that thing.
Okay. What about MPLS?
Yeah, ma'am, we have done that.
The practical is still left because
Still
of
pending.
the some issue that we guys are facing in the GNS3.
DNS3 and
Okay.
Cisco Packet Tracer both.
So, Aman, can we resolve these issue and can we smooth it down on the MPLS practicals, please?
Yeah, ma'am, I'll try my best. Actually, ma'am, there was a issue regarding the image file of the GNS, and see, ma'am, actually, these are the very large protocols which is we have to cover. Like, we need the real images in that, right? So if you
Okay.
have the real images in GNS or any packet tracer, so always we will be able to do that. Like what the challenges we face, that is regarding the images problem, and nothing much more that is we faced. I hope. And
But
always I
just try
just
to support as much as you can. Take Vijay's help if possible so that we can improvise on their experience of learning.
yes, ma'am. I'll try that. And ma'am, actually,
Apart from that,
sorry,
yes,
sorry
please.
for the interruption. Actually, the some practicals we wasn't able to do that on the packet regarding like BGP and the other things, but we will be able to do that on the packet tracer. So I we performed the practicals which is regarding the BGP on packet tracer, so that was working fine from yesterday itself, and the VJ sir was there, and he also taught some kind of points regarding MPLS. So I hope everything is going good. Like as you also know that, ma'am, the some students is from the different background, so they are just willingness to learn, and they are just facing the little bit of the problem for the understanding of this kind of practicals and all. Because of you also know that the BGP and MPLS is like very these are the protocols which is we have to toughest understand.
I understand. So, are all the participants agreed with what Aman had just mentioned?
Yes, ma'am. Everything is running
Yes, ma'am.
smooth as of now.
Okay. I'm sorry, I have certain more points to discuss, so I need your inputs on that also. There's one topic which is mentioned EIGRP and OSPF. Are these two topics covered satisfactory?
Yes, ma'am. These
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
are
covered.
well.
Sorry, Mr. Roshan, I'm barely able to hear you because of the network issues, I think. Can anyone help me get the inputs on?
Yes, ma'am, it is cleared, ma'am. And Aman sir taught us very well.
Yes, ma'am. From Shiv Singh side. Yes, it was all good and we're able to understand. Yes.
Sure. Thank you so much for your quick update. Is there anything I can help you out with? Any concerns? Any suggestions you wanted to give? I have noted down your point on the duration. Other than that, is there anything you want to highlight? Because I don't want to disturb your time more for you from your training hours. Are we all good to wrap this up?
Yes, ma'am. Sure. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Aman.
Yes.
Please continue your session and sorry to bother you during your
Thank you,
training
ma'am.
hours. Enjoy your learnings. Bye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, so let's get back to the point. So this is the MST configuration commands which is we need to run on the Cisco switches, right? If you want to bind the multiple VLANs in a single instance, so there will be the some kind of points or the some kind of rules which is we must have to follow, right? So the rules which is rules and the features which is we have to follow. So these kind of things. Okay, just write it down the all the commands which is mentioned over here, and then we'll move next. Okay, so just write down the commands first. So let me just revise again. Let me just quickly revise it. Okay, so inside this MST, like the somebody asked, like why we create the multiple instances and what is the need of it. So inside it, basically, inside a single instance, if I'm talk about the PVST plus or RPVST plus, so inside the PVST plus, we create a single instance for a single VLAN, right? Means if I have to create the multiple VLANs for on the switch, so we have to create the multiple instances for that, right? But inside the MST, we can create the multiple instances for the multiple VLANs. Means in one instance, we can create the multiple VLANs, and the multiple instances we are also able to create it, right? So now over here is the some steps which is we can just create it, and we what are the things that is we required to give while configuration of the MST. That is, first of all, you have to select the mode, right? Span and tree mode MST, and then after that you have to follow these commands. Span and tree MST configuration, you have to give the name, revision number, and then instances, and inside the instances you have to put the VLANs, right? So now suppose that here is the some departments that is we have. So here is the we have switch number 1 and we have switch number 2. Suppose that this is India location PC, India location switch, and this is suppose that Australia or whatever. Okay, so what we need, we have the same, suppose that it's a same department which is I'm using, that is HCL, right? And here is the same departments also we have, that is HR department, account department, and sales department. The same department also we have on the Australia location switch as well. So what I did, we have the we have suppose that we have multiple VLANs on this HR department. So what I did, I just wanted to create these VLAN in a one instances. Means I just wanted to put this VLAN in a single packet, right? Suppose that I just want to put 4 books in cupboard, right? So what I will do, like I will just take this book and I will put it in that, right? So the same thing also we have to do. We have to put this. We have to take the all the VLANs, and I have to put this all the VLAN in a one instances. So I just create these 3 instances accordingly, according to the departments, right? I just create instance 1 and I give the name, that is HR, and then I just put this VLANs in that, right? And if you want that the some, if you have the some kind of requirement that the suppose that HR department have some kind of information which is most its most requirement, right? So what we can do, we can increase the priority for this particular HR department, and where this HR department is going to exist inside this instance one. So for the instance one, we are going to create the priority. How we can increase the priority with using this command, right? That is span entry MSD, and then whatever the priority that you want to give it. Okay. So this is the thing which is you can do regarding the priority and all the things. Okay. As you can see. Okay, so here is the thing regarding MST. Now let's discuss the span and remote span over here, right? Like what is that, and what is the thing that is we have. So what is the remote span? What is the span? So this Cisco Catalyst switch have a feature that is we called span, switch port analyzer, right? That lets you copy all the traffic from a source port or a source VLAN to the destination interface. This is very useful for a number of reasons. So what are the reasons that is we have, like why we use this span, what is the use of it? So if you wanted to use Wireshark to capture the traffic from interfaces that is connected on a workstation, server, phone, or anything that you want, right? So like with the Wireshark is the kind of traffic analyzer, which is you can monitor all the traffic which is going to be happen on a link, right? Means if I take this scenario, so you can monitor all the links, all the traffic which is going via this traffic or going via this link, right? So who is going to help that? The Wireshark, right? So Wireshark is a kind of an application which will help you to monitor all the kind of traffics which is going to travel via this interface, right? So now what are the things that is we have? So the source can be an interface or any kind of VLAN, and destination would be an kind of interface, right? Means if I take this scenario, so source is our this VLANs, right? These HR departments, and who is the destination? So the destination is this interface, because of all the packet is going to receive on this interface only, right? So whatever the interfaces that is we have, so the all the interfaces, all the packets is going to receive on this interface only. Okay. So after receiving that, what we can do, like when you see a destination interface on the same which has used switch as a switch, we called it span, right? When the destination is a remote interface on another switch, we called it remote span, right? Means if the destination is on the same switch, that is we called span, right? If the destination, if you have multiple switches over here, suppose that we have switch 3, so the destination is this, right? Because of I have to send these packets from the switch number 3, so the packet is going to receive on this interface, right? So that interface is going to, like we can call it as a remote span. Okay, that is a different, that's all. There is nothing to worry about that remote span and all the things. So like let me just tell you exactly what is the remote span, what is a span VLAN. So the span VLAN, that is this one, right? Via here to here, and the remote span, which is the location PC, that is the another traffic which is we have. So this link would be called it as a remote span over here, right? And here is the span configuration, which is you can do that. Okay, so how you can configure the span, how you can monitor that? So here is the some kind of command which is you can configure it. That is monitor session 1. You have to create a particular session, and the source would be your fast Ethernet 0/1. Means you can monitor the traffics from this interface, right? So whatever the traffic is going to travel by this interface, you are going to monitor it, right? And also we have to define the who is the destination. So destination is this interface. Means inside this case, inside this scenario, who is our source? So source is our fast Ethernet 061. And who is our destination? This is our destination, right? So just like that, we can just monitor and we can just tell the source and destination. And if you wanted to filter the traffic or if you wanted to monitor the traffic for the particular VLAN, so you can also monitor it for the like if any traffic is coming from between the VLAN number 1 to 100, so that traffic is also you can monitor with using this command, right? Monitor session 1, filter VLAN 1 to 100. Okay, so just do one thing, write down this command first, and uh, then I will scroll it down, then you have to write it down this one as well. Okay, just this one, write it down first.